Hi everyone, my name is Taylor Belomini, and I'm a clinical supervisor as part of our Entry to School program. Thanks so much for joining us today as we talk about our first topic in our Entry to School program webinar series, home learning environment and everyday activities. So on the agenda for today, we're really going to talk about the natural environment. What is our natural environment and different strategies and ways that we can teach in it. We're going to talk about everyday activities. So really taking notice of what are those things we're already doing. We're going to talk about embedding learning into everyday activities and then some next steps. So natural environment teaching, or you may hear some of us refer to this as net teaching, is a really valuable way of teaching new skills to your child in environments that they're already familiar with. The core deficits of autism can sometimes create challenges for a family to actively engage their child and support learning in everyday activities and routines. But children are most comfortable in familiar environments with people they know, with their own toys or items that they experience in their home. And as children eat, get dressed, play, have bath time or story time before bed, there's a lot of great activities that are a really great source of learning in the home. And these are things that you're already doing each day. These everyday routines can vary widely from household to household, depending on different families. And it really helps to build up these skills in the natural environment, which can help you prioritize some of your concerns. Because of that, it really helps to make these skills that we're going to teach immediately useful for your child and your family. Children also learn by doing. They learn through interacting with others, by exploring, and participating in everyday activities. Because children with autism don't always pay attention to everything that's going on around them, giving your child a job or a little role in any routine can create lots of learning opportunities and language opportunities for your child. Think about all those things that you do on a day-to-day basis, even outside the home. Learning opportunities can occur at grandma's house, on the bus while we go to the mall. It can occur when we're out for pizza together. And this is really valuable to the generalization of skills, which means that when we're teaching a skill, we're able to practice it and do it in one environment, such as home, but also on the bus, at a restaurant, at grandma's house, and with a bunch of different people. So think about if we're teaching our child familiar words such as open, we're going to say open the cookie jar, open the door to go outside, or open the fridge to get a drink. This is generalizing the skill set, and this is what's really going to help prepare your child for school and for their next learning environments. So as we come across a chat moment here, I would like you to reflect. What are some activities you and your child do every day? So think about those things that you have to do: the brushing teeth, the washing faces, diaper changes, getting dressed, eating meals. There's a lot of things that are already happening day to day that you do with your child. So take a minute and pause and reflect on some of those things that might be more specific to your household that you do every day. And once we've thought about that, I would encourage you to start thinking about our next chat moment, which is what routines or activities does your child enjoy? So what are those activities that your child might show you some smiles, some laughs, or tickles? Maybe you say bath time and your child goes running because they love playing in the water. Think about some of those activities that you enjoy doing together. How do you know? And what are they? And on the flip side to that is what routines are difficult for your child. So those are those moments where you might think to yourself, oh, I really don't want to show them the diaper and let them know we're going to go do a diaper change because this is going to end up in tears for possibly both of us. It's not going to be a great moment. It's really hard for me to do. Or maybe your child does hear that bath water and goes running to the other side of the house. So really thinking about what routines are difficult right now. So this leads us into our next topic, which is everyday activities. So as I previously mentioned, there are lots of things going on in your day-to-day, and lots of activities are occurring in your home already, which is really providing your child with a really rich source of learning. Within those activities and routines, there's opportunities for your child to hear your words, to learn with you, to engage with you, and to have some communication opportunities with you. Your everyday activities are captured here on the screen in 8 different categories. So let's look at them a little bit further. The first one that we're going to talk about is playing with toys. So this can include different types of constructive play, like playing with blocks, stacking blocks together, doing some puzzles, shape sorters, Play-Doh, using some pretend play such as dolls or cars. And children with autism at times may have limited skills in pretend play or might show some of those restricted interests to particular toys. For example, it might resonate with you if you see a child lining up cars or lining up items. And what we really want to do is to take some of their motivations and their interest with these toys to help create really rich moments of social engagement for them. Our next category here is play with props. So playing with props can include more of that big equipment. So going up and down the slide together or on the swing. But even in your home, playing with props might look like rocking on a rocking horse or big movable objects like a yoga ball. Maybe it's playing with a blanket and doing peekaboo with a blanket or parachute with a blanket. Think about making a tent with sofa cushions. These are really great ways to introduce objects into play without having too much competition for the spotlight with your little one. We also have people play as our next everyday activity here. And people play includes social games. So these are the games such as peekaboo, tickles, maybe some hide and seek. It also can include songs and rhymes like Wheels on the Bus. Because children with autism can at times become overly focused on objects, keeping the objects out of the activity really helps to remove that competition for their attention. People play is a really great first step and a really great way to have your child start to notice you, to look at you, to laugh with you, to engage. And people play can be done in different opportunities throughout your everyday, such as doing peekaboo during diaper change, doing tickles as you put their shirt on and they have their arms up. Next, we're going to look at meals and snacks. Well, meals and snacks are something that naturally we do multiple times a day. So you have some really great practice opportunities. Meals and snacks are social opportunities. Think about it. We typically eat our meals or snacks together with other people. We talk about our day, talk about how we're feeling. Meal times provide a really great context for sharing enjoyment. It's a really natural way to be able to practice some requesting as well. We can give our children choices. Do you want to have the apple or the banana for your snack time? Or putting something out of reach and they have to ask for their juice. By having your child participate in preparing some meals, preparing some snacks, maybe they're mixing, maybe they have a spoon, they're wiping the table, they're putting their plate out. These are additional ways that we can create learning opportunities in your day-to-day. Our next category that we have here is family chores. So these include activities like picking up toys, cleaning them up together. Maybe it's putting their clothes in a hamper, the laundry hamper, feeding a pet together, taking a walk to get the mail, or putting their dishes away. These are things that you do every day anyways. So why don't we take advantage of some of that time and help get our children involved, give them a little bit of a job, where again, we're just looking at creating learning opportunities in the home. And next we have book sharing. So book sharing is reading stories together, looking at books together. And this can really help to promote language and literacy. Children with ASD are often interested in shapes, colors, letters, numbers. And these activities can be set up to promote interaction with books, photo albums, or even some iPad apps. Simply just by talking about what your child is looking at, pointing together, talking about the pictures, making silly sounds. We don't even really need to read the book to them. We just want to create that learning opportunity and the social interaction together with that common focus. And then we have caregiving. So this includes washing hands, dressing, changing diapers, brushing teeth. These activities, just like your meals and snacks, happen multiple times a day and offer a lot of learning opportunities. Sometimes these routines can be difficult. They're not so much fun for our children, but we really want to get our creative juices flowing and think about, how can I make it more fun for my child? Can I do those tickles during diaper change? Can I sing a song as we're walking to the bath? Maybe I'm singing The Ants Go Marching. Maybe we're making silly faces in the mirror at each other while we're doing brushing teeth or washing hands. Creating some of these fun moments during our everyday activities can help promote some more of that engagement between you and your child. And lastly, here we have transitions. So transitions are the moments that occur between activities. These are really critical to let your child know what is coming up next. Letting your child know where they're going, what's happening, and why can help provide a really smooth transition from one activity to the next. Telling your child, clean up toys, well, that might not go over very well. But if we're saying, come on, clean up your toys, we're going to go eat, that helps them to know where their body needs to be, what's expected to them, and can help provide a little bit more of that motivation to actually transition through the activities. We really want to make sure that we're practicing even just staying calm through some of these transitions, because they can be a hard part of our children's day, especially if we are going from outside to inside or cleaning up our favorite toys. Having them stay calm and practice a little job or role, such as putting a toy away, turning off a light, closing a door, is just one more learning opportunity for your child. Okay, so I'm using this word routine very often throughout this presentation. So let's talk about that a little bit more. You might think, why would I make my child do more in hand washing? It's already hard enough. Or dressing, it's already a fight. It's just faster for me to do it. And you're right. But routines are great, predictable ways for children to take turns in an interaction. So we're just changing the quality of the interaction. Communication happens already all day long, but when we're getting our children involved more, they're more likely to hear our words, to notice the shapes our mouth are making, and we can help to set up opportunities for them to communicate back to us. The more that we practice a routine, the more we're doing the same steps over and over and over. So this becomes really predictable. This helps your child to predict what's happening next, predict where their body needs to be so that they can be regulated as we move on throughout these routines. I really encourage you to think about one expectation for your child, just one thing they can do in the activity. So if you are getting them dressed, putting all of their clothes on for them, what's just one thing that we want them to do? Is it maybe just pulling up pants and we're helping them through everything else, but maybe we put their pants on and we're gonna wait at the bottom. See if they'll pull them up. Maybe it's pulling a sock on or a sock off. Maybe for hand washing, we walk in front of the sink and wait. What will they do if the water is not on? Will they reach? Will they look at you? Will they make a little sound or a little gesture to point to the sink? So yes, it might be faster for you to facilitate a lot of these activities by yourself. But when you do have time and some of those slower moments on a weekend or when your other children are at school, try really slowing down the routine and think about one role that we want our children to be doing to start practicing. Research shows that because children aren't always noticing what's going on around them, there are a lot of missed opportunities in day-to-day learning. So by giving your child a role and a job, it really helps them to focus their attention on what they're doing. So if we think about we're really physically guiding our child through hand washing, they don't really have to be noticing what's happening. They could be staring at the window or at themselves in the mirror. But as soon as we have our hands move away and we pause and wait and the water's not on, they tune in and they check in. Oh, why isn't the water on? What do I have to do to make it happen? So if your child is using their hands, they're learning. So I really encourage you to think, what are my hands doing that my child's hands can be doing instead? So now we've come to some strategies. So different strategies to engage your child at home. First up is motivation. So really think about it. What motivates your child? Is it water? Then let's practice hand washing or bath time. Is it singing and songs? Well, what kind of song can we add to a hand washing routine? Or can we add when we are getting dressed? Maybe we're doing head and shoulders, and as we lift our arms up, we put the shirt on. Or when we're cleaning up in our entry to school classrooms, we often sing a cleanup song. So even though the children might not love cleaning up, because they love singing, it does help support them throughout those transitions and hard to do activities. And next, as I mentioned, giving your child a job or a role. Give your child something to do with their hands. Maybe it's holding the diaper as you walk to the change table. Like I said, closing the door, going to search for their shoes, putting a boot on, holding a spoon. Just having them walk even as opposed to carrying them is just one more thing that they're doing to be an active participant with you. We also really want to talk about clear beginnings and endings. So I've used that word predictability a few times in our past slides. And predictability is really helpful for children with ASD. And just children in general. Predictability is embedded into classrooms, into routines. So really thinking about letting your child know what's happening next. A lot of times for these little bodies, we do a lot of things for them. We pick them up, we bring them to the washroom, we're physically guiding them through everything. And thinking about it, that can be dysregulating. They don't really know why their body's moving to different places, where they're going, what's happening. So let them know. Maybe holding up, oh, diaper time, and show them the diaper, point to it, come on, let's go. Or if we're going to have food, maybe holding up the box of cereal and shaking it so that they can see it, they can hear your words, they can see what's happening. And then on the flip side, thinking about those predictable endings to routines, because these can be really difficult. So let your child know, 3, 2, 1, we're all done playing. Come, let's clean up and point to the box, really setting them up for success for when a routine is ending. Okay, cleanup is all done. We're gonna go have snack time now. Come with me, let's go eat. Using a lot of those gestures, a lot of that predictability. What we don't want to practice is having your child just walk away when they're finished, because when it comes to school, they're not going to be able to do that. They're not going to be able to just walk away from their block activity, from their snack. They're going to have to clean up, put things away, indicate that they're all done. So as you notice that your child is ready to end a routine, or they are starting to walk away, invite them back. Oh, you're finished? Okay, come with me. Let's put away 3 blocks, then we can be all done. 1, 2, 3. Good job. And we can just adjust our expectations too to meet your child where they're at when ending or cleaning up. Next, we're going to look at the positioning or face-to-face. So when you are participating in an activity with your child, we really want to think about your positioning. It's important to be face-to-face with your child and down on their level. This really allows them the opportunity to look at you, to notice your facial expressions, to connect with you, to look at the shapes your mouth are making. If we're reading stories on laps, it's a lot more effort to turn their body to look at you. But if we're lying on our bellies, sitting together on the same level, it's a lot easier to make those connections and have those moments happening. And then we're going to talk about what your child is doing. So join in with your child. Comment on what they're doing. We have no expectations that they're going to also use those words, but we're just providing additional language for them. So if they're eating, we're going, yummy, crunchy apple, making some sounds, because it's more likely that they might hear you and notice, oh, she sees that. She's eating an apple too. We're doing it together. We're also just modeling words that they could say in the future. Hot, ooh, blow. So again, we're really just creating more enriched language and communication experiences for them. I also want to mention when we're talking about what our child's doing, we're not asking questions. What are you doing? What's that? What color is that? Because that's not giving opportunity to practice hearing the language. But talking and adding language, that's where they're going to really start to notice and hear. And with that model and interpret what your child is doing, how they're communicating. If they're reaching up to you because they want up, let them know, give them that word. Oh, up, you want up. Or if they're reaching for a cookie and they're pointing and looking at you, give them that word, cookie, cookie mama. We really want to interpret your child's message, again, so that the more they're hearing the language, the more likely they can comprehend it, they can store it for later on, and start using some of those sounds, gestures, or words. When I talk about modeling, I really like to share the one-up rule. So this is whatever your child is doing to communicate, whether that be a gesture, a point, a word, or a sound, add one to it. So if your child is pointing, that's where you're going to add one word. Oh, cookie, or up. If your child is already saying up, maybe you're saying up mama, up please, or more cookie, so that we're adding on additional opportunities for them to learn. And lastly, using gestures. So developmentally, children are communicating using gestures for a bunch of different reasons, which starts as early as 9 months. Children acquire gestures quite quickly. So thinking about shaking your head no or yes, again, those points, the up, the gives, the show me's, there's gestures that are occurring all around them. We use gestures as we speak all the time too. And there is a lot of those symbolic gestures. Call me, raising your hand for help. So really using these in your day-to-day, demonstrating, using them can help your child to build better comprehension of what those words mean, as well as they are more likely to use them in their everyday activities. Okay, so now we have learning in routines. When we consider learning in our daily routines, it just makes sense. We're already doing these activities every day, multiple times a day. So we don't have to make time to practice. I know that all of you don't have 8 hours in your day to spend teaching and learning with your child. So that's really why we want to look at these activities that we're already doing and just changing the quality of the interaction. Your everyday activities happen almost the same way every time. Think about it. Brushing teeth, we get our toothbrush, put it under the water, turn the water on, put the toothpaste on. Washing hands, you turn the water on, you get the soap, you put your hands under the water. Dressing, you put your shirt on, you put your pants on. So they have those specific, predictable steps. When we repeat them in the same order a bunch of different times, this is where we can really start to think about giving your child that role. What is mom's job or dad's job in it versus what is our child's job? And once we can start embedding those into those predictable routines, we can continue to expect more from them. Learning in your everyday activities creates wonderful, fun ways to introduce your child to taking turns, communicating. Maybe mommy puts on one sock, then the child puts on the other sock. Mommy puts on the pants, child puts on the shirt. So we're already getting into that groove of turn taking. And that communicating piece, we can embed making choices. Do you want to wear your red shirt or your yellow shirt? Or like I mentioned earlier, just leaving the water off. That gives them an opportunity to communicate and say, hey, what's going on here? Why is the water not on? Once your child has something to do with their hands, they have something to communicate about, to share with you, to show with you, and to continue to create really valuable social moments. Okay, so how does a child learn in a routine? First, like I've mentioned, by seeing and hearing the routine many times. So talk through the steps with them. Oh, water on, cold water. Let's rub, 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 rub. Water off. So let them know so that they're hearing those steps over and over again. Next, through learning the steps and actions, words, and sounds, they all go with the routine together. So as I mentioned, that rub, 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 wash, 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 1, 2, 3, squeeze the toothpaste. Start using those familiar sounds and actions in those routines. Then we're slowly going to become familiar with the routine and participating in it. So that's where you start to think about expanding your child's jobs and roles. This again allows more opportunities for your child to ask for things in their routines, to be able to participate more fun in routines. So if your child is looking up, is reaching, is vocalizing, that's where we're going to start to interpret their messages in these routines. Other examples that we might include are pausing and waiting, seeing if your child needs something. Sometimes being silly and making mistakes in a routine can also be a really valuable learning. So if we're doing a puzzle together, maybe we put the puzzle piece on our head. Oh, where did it go? Will your child notice? Will they look at you? Will they reach for it? Or even with their shirt, maybe you're doing a peekaboo with their shirt, you put it on their head, but because they've seen the routine many times, we can go, uh-oh, come on, let's pull together. 1, 2, 3, pull. So really making it predictable, watching the routine, adding those words and sound effects that go in the routines, and then increasing your child's learning opportunities, their roles, and their jobs. That's really where we're going to start to see those high points take place, and we're able to add more and more into those routines for your child. Okay, and another valuable reason to practice at home is that practicing everyday activities sets the stage for your child to reach their best potential in their next learning environment, which, in part of the entry to school program, is going to school. This is accomplished again, like I mentioned, through that predictable steps, roles, jobs for your child. Your child will begin to notice more, to understand more, and that will really set the stage for learning and generalizing their skills from home. So let's think about it. We have playing with toys. Again, that is those moments of playing with Barbies, cars, dolls, puzzles, duckies. Those are things that they're going to see in their classroom. They're going to play with toys at centers. In kindergarten especially, it's really motivation-based, and there's a lot of play-based activities. So your child being able to play with toys at home is going to help set up for that success in kindergarten. Playing with props. So practicing playing with props at home will then translate into that park equipment, recess time, gym time, playing with balls, parachutes. That people play. So songs and rhymes, circle time, that happens all the time at school. They'll sit, they'll do attendance, they'll do circle times, they'll do different games together. So people play at home translates into noticing and watching each other during songs, rhymes, and circle times at school. Meals and snacks. So that eating day to day, practicing setting up their snack routine, cleaning it up, that is going to translate nicely into snacks and lunches at school. Being able to get their lunch bag, open their container, open their snack wrappers, and then cleaning it all up, which leads into family chores. So getting your child involved in hand washing, involved in dressing, involved in putting their things away. That's going to translate nicely into those moments where they have to clean up. They have to put their things away, their toys in the bins, their agendas in their backpack. Book sharing. So those reading opportunities, that again is really the start of that pre-academic skill set of sharing, of noticing, joining in together. Caregiving. So shoes on, shoes off, jackets on, jackets off, backpacks on. That happens day to day with recess time and outdoor time. And thinking about those colder months, it's important for your children to be able to put on snow pants and jackets and scarves and hats. And then transitions. So transitions are happening many times in classrooms. That's where you're going to have to clean up, to move on to snack time, to gym time, to walk around the building, to go to library. So these transitions are happening all the time. So the more that you can practice your child being regulated and actively engaged in a transition at home, the more likely they are to be successful in those hard transitions at school. Okay, so another chat moment here. There's been lots of new information. So I really would like you to think about what is one new routine that you might try at home. Maybe there's something that we highlighted today that you thought, I've never thought to get my child engaged in that before, or have them participate in laundry with me. I didn't think a child could do that. Or to have them participate in putting dishes away. So really think about, could my child help me take clothes out of the laundry bin? Can my child help me put some spoons in the sink when they're finished? What is one thing that you want to try with your child at home? And now coming down to that practice, so some takeaways or some homework, so to speak. Think about what you do every day with your child, right? Those necessary routines, those caregiving routines, snacks, meals. And then think about what's one more thing that your child can do in those activities. How can we keep them engaged, keep their hands busy? Remember, thinking about what are my hands doing that my child's can be doing. And even if they need a little bit of help to press a button, to open a door, that's okay if we're helping them, as long as we're having one more expectation. And we want to expect it, model it, and follow through. So again, thinking about that expectation, show them how to do it. Maybe if we're putting spoons in the sink, I have a spoon, I put it in, and then they put it in so that they can watch me and learn from me. And also following through means if we're giving an instruction or an expectation, we really want to make it happen. So if I put the spoon in the sink and the child's not really noticing or not really understanding, then that's where we want to help them out. Maybe tapping their elbow to put them in, maybe guiding them to put them in. And like I mentioned, it's okay to help them out, but we do want to follow through so that when we say, put your spoon in, they can understand those words, build up the comprehension piece, and understand those expectations. And as mentioned, one more rule is learning. Keeping your child's hands busy is helping them to stay engaged. And when they're engaged, they are noticing more, sharing more, showing more, and it's providing opportunities for communication and learning together. So I want to thank you so much for spending your time with me today and learning about the value of natural environment teaching and learning every day in our home activities. I encourage you to reflect on some of those chat moments and some of the practicing, and I look forward to our next webinar together.